auditorium and on the phone lines. So now we can begin. Our first speaker, Michael Meyer. Michael?
Thank you, Steve. We have followed the water, and we have found repeated and predictable evidence suggesting water flowing on Mars.
So you can see this for yourself. Here's a globe of Mars, and we're going to zoom in on the southern mid-latitude, which is where we find these features. This big crater there is Newton crater, with images taken weeks to months apart in time, cycling through the year with emphasis on the late spring and summer period. So the slope features, they're in the upper left here as we look at this now. We expect water on Mars to be briny, to be salty, because we know that the surface is salty from all of the past landers and rovers, from Martian meteorites, from orbital remote sensing. So any water that flows in the subsurface or surface is going to get salty. Furthermore, the salt serves to depress the freezing point of the water. So in places where it's below freezing and we see this activity, it is still plausible for that to be salty water. No vertical exaggeration. These are really steep slopes, about 35-degree slopes. These dark flows appear to emanate from bedrock.
What makes these new observations so interesting is that they occur at much lower latitudes where the temperatures are much warmer and where it's actually possible for liquid water to exist.
Where we've managed this is again in the southern mid-latitudes.
What we see on Earth in that kind of a setting is that if there are cryopegs, cold, salty waters that never freeze despite the cold surrounding frozen ground, then they simply remain active at all times, although at lower metabolic rates when the coldest temperatures occur. If the environment is one in which it's liquid seasonally but pretty much freezes up solid at other times a year, then that would have to be an organism that could go into a dormant state or could go into a resting state.
Lineaments are forming and growing still. Eventually they all fade, and eventually they completely disappear.